What do you think, D? What do you think, D? What are you up to this morning? You tell everybody what you're up to. What's happening? Good morning. Good Morgen. ¿Qué tal, Holmes? ¿Qué tal? What's on my mind today, man? I don't know. That's a good question. I woke up today and I felt out of sorts. That's kind of what's at my mind. I woke up, it's one of those days where I just don't feel comfortable in my own skin. I want to leap out of my own skin. I don't know what the fuck that means, but take that for what it is. That's what I want. Is it severe or mild? It's not too bad. Just a little, like, I don't know. Restless, I guess, is the word that people would use to describe it. It'll pass like gas. Yeah, it does. And yeah, it's a symptom of anxiety for sure. It's like my brain finding something for me to be worried about when I can't lock in on something that needs to be worried about right now. And so my brain locks in on some fucking intangible worry within myself that pushes me towards this kind of fugue state where I feel like I'm like, I don't know. 'Tis what it is, I guess. Hello. Yeah, what did Jimmy Dore say today, guys? Let's have a powwow about Jimmy Dore. What did he do to upset the fucking hen coop today? Jimmy Dore is the best at creating the, like, that sound that you get when you got like a chicken coop and everybody's like upset. He's a professional at like walking around the chicken coop of the left and making those fucking making a noise or something and getting the whole chicken coop all riled up. That's basically how I see Jimmy Dore, which is why I support the guy. He's out there making people uncomfortable. He's out there like making arguments that don't line up with people's fucking worldviews and sitting on the periphery of their political beliefs, like a it's like a mosquito that you can't swat. I like that. I like that, Holmes. I like that. I don't necessarily listen to everything that he does, but I love the fact that he can say something and then my entire Twitter feed for 8 days is going to be about it, what he said. So you like him because he's annoying? Yeah. He is annoying. He's hard-headed. He's annoying. He's thick-skinned. And I know that he notices the clucking of the left-hand house as much as I do, if he's out there still doing it. What's your friend barking about? Can you tell me? Can you translate? Can you translate a little bit? You don't know? What's he talking about? What's the most heated argument that you've had with TJ? I don't know. Like, I don't know. We've gotten into it publicly a couple of times. We've gotten into it privately a couple of times. I don't know what the most heated we've ever gotten is, but shit gets heated. I mean, what are you going to do? Have I gotten the jerky? Yes. I ate a piece of it last night on the stream because people were asking about it. I've had the jerky since right before Christmas or right after Christmas. One of the two. I can't remember. It came right around Christmas time. Jimmy Door. If I was a talented animator, that's what I would do. I would animate a lanky, goofy-looking Jimmy Door creeping up outside of a hen coop, and all the hens inside are like, door. He's trying to be all quiet, and then have him just say something. Jimmy Door. Good shit. Dude, anytime I see the left like uncomfortable and clucking like a bunch of hens, I feel like the left is in its proper state. The left should be uncomfortable in this fucking country. It's been a laughable joke for my entire fucking life. It's been a laughable, capitulating, centrist joke my entire fucking life. So people like standing on that fucking side of the political platform should be. I know I'm fucking uncomfortable. Why shouldn't you be? Why shouldn't you constantly be worried about division within the left? Why shouldn't you constantly be fucking, challenged? Every time I open my mouth with a political idea that comes out of the left, I get fucking challenged on it. Why should you be all comfy in your cozy little fucking box? That's what the Jimmy Doors are for. Eat a fucking dick. Nobody's comfortable in this country. And nothing's easy either. Your easy way isn't going to work. So, buck. You got fired from your last job for making people feel uncomfortable. What were you doing? Were you like putting your hand on their leg a lot? Because that makes people uncomfortable. You shouldn't do that. Hey there. Paul, have you ever done a personality test? Yes, I actually did one on stream a long time ago. I don't know, it was back when we were all living in the Tinderbox together. I was doing one of these out in the garage set that we had built there. Cold as shit in the middle of winter, I remember. And I'm pretty sure TJ was there. It might have been TJ and Chelsea. It's like a room full. It was like 2 or 3 people in the room for it, and they had me do a personality test live. And I the Myers-Briggs one or whatever the fuck. I don't remember what I was. Sorry. No recollection of what my actual Myers-Briggs type was. You guys wait right there. I'm going to go grab my vape, and I'm going to go grab a glass of water. I'll be right back. I'm going to let D in too. You cold? Naked as a jaybird. Right. That worked. That worked out. Have you seen Putin documentary? Have you? Have you seen Putin documentary? I have not seen Putin documentary. I don't own cryptocurrency, no. Hey, Paul, my wife and I have recently started having threesomes with another girl. Surprising how physical it is. Physical? It's like playing Twister. You know what I mean? Yeah, be careful with that, by the way. I've heard them types of relationships tough to keep going. Got to work on my cardio. I'll go. Get out of there. Get out of here and work on your cardio. Be telling me about it. I don't want to hear about it. I agree, poop, poop. And what's furthermore, poop. You know? Yeah, forensic files, yeah. In early January of 2021, Mark Jameson and his girlfriend, Katie Williamson, decided that they wanted to spice up their love life by adding a third member. Little did they know that along with the pleasure that comes along with adding a third member comes feelings like anger, jealousy, and rage. Kurt, Celia, and Austin. Who are those people? Who the fuck is Kurt? And who the fuck is Celia? And really, who the fuck is Austin? That's what I want to know. Some fantasies are best kept to yourself. That's true. You got to have some kind of like an internal fantasy life, you know, to drive you. I agree with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, yeah, life requires illusion and life requires delusion as well, especially modern life. You know, modern existence requires daily delusion. And I wouldn't take that from everybody. You gotta have your fantasies, man. You gotta have your closely held irrational beliefs and desires. Back in the day, people used to leave the house. Well, yeah, they used to be allowed to. People used to be allowed to do things like leave the house. We have to keep telling ourselves that everything is okay. It is, isn't it? I don't see any mushroom clouds. Everything's fine. Right? No? You say everything's not fine? Well, I don't like this guy's takes. This guy's a moron. Reminds me of a Lady Hawk song called My Delirium. Like a really poppy song from back in the day. Back in the, I don't know, the mid 2000s, I guess. 2005 ish, 15 ish, 10 ish, somewhere in that zone. A song by a band called Lady Hawk called My Delirium. Marry you? No, sorry, I'm already married. I'm off the market, y'all. I know a prime piece of USDA prime rib beef like this goes off the market and the world weeps, but it's just the way it is, man. You can't get that center cut steak anymore. All that's left on the market is that skirt steak. What was my wedding like? Very cursory. So because of COVID, we got married in a Justice of the Peace ceremony. Just because we wanted to get it done, get it on paper, and get it legal and all of that stuff. So we went to the Justice of the Peace here locally and signed the paperwork and got married. Had some weird dreams lately. Yeah. I've had a couple of weird dreams lately, to be honest with you. Have you ever combed your beard? I brush my beard every day, multiple times a day, usually twice a day. My beard will get a brush out. So yeah. I have not seen the Night Stalker doc, no. Have not. I have no idea what the temperature is, but it's cold enough. It's cold enough for me to need a navy pea coat and a fucking beanie on my head, and I have my hands in my pockets. That's how cold it is. You thought about letting your beard grow a little more? This is about where the beard stops. I haven't trimmed my beard in over a year now. In any way. So every beard has a terminal length. And this, wherever it is here, is pretty much the terminal length of my beard. So it won't be getting any longer. How do you deal with your own aging? I love it, bro. Dead honest, too. I mean, I don't love the, like, not being as physically capable or whatever. I don't like the extra pain, that comes with being an older person, being less capable of lifting and all of that shit. But everything else about it I really like. Getting old at least came for me, or getting older. I'm not fucking ancient. I mean, come on, I'm 40. But getting older, getting out of my 30s and into my 40s, it imbued me with this wonderful sense of like self-confidence. Not like total self-confidence, but like a trust in myself to know where I stand on things and to know what I want. And it felt good. Like there was something right around when I turned 40, give or take, that year preceding it, where I was going through this internal struggle about, like how I was supposed to be, like how people perceive me, how I wanted to be perceived going forward. And through that process of like really being unsure about where to take myself, I gained this real, genuine sense of confidence and trust in my own instincts and stuff. And that's carried forward, and I really love that. So yeah, I like getting old. I mean, I started to feel older in my mid 30s. That's when I really started to notice that, like, I'm not 20 no more. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, not like immediately. It wasn't like I had this immediate crash of ability or this immediate uptick in like problems and pains and shit. But it's just like, around 35, you're like, man, I ain't in my fucking 20s no more. That's 100% true. And then now, like, pushing 40 into my 40s, there's certain things that you just can't do like you used to be able to do. Like, um, I can't party the way I used to. By party, I mean just sit and drink. I'm not as social as I used to be. I used to be a creature that had a very, very high social need, meaning that I needed to have, people around me all the time. Not necessarily all the time, but I was very driven by a need to socially be in the presence of other people, and now that's changed completely. I'm actually driven by an opposite need now. Almost, I want to be at length from people most of the time, and I don't know. Just kind of embracing how I feel about myself has been the best thing about getting older, I think. Being able to kind of kick back and know myself a little bit. I feel like I wasted too much time as an adolescent and young adult wishing to be older. No, dude, no. Not really. I feel like, if anything, if there's any regret or kind of sad feeling about that, it's that I didn't really, I wasn't prepared for how fast life hits the gas pedal once you join the working world and shit. You know, I feel there are times as a 40-year-old man when I can close my eyes or get into a mindset where I feel like it was just yesterday that I was, being kicked out of my house, having my little meager bunch of things moved to Arizona and starting my life. Like, I can remember some of those days like so clearly. Excuse me. Ugh. No boogies. Okay, we're good. Yeah. And, life just hits that gas pedal and it doesn't stop. It's like I look over the length and breadth of all the stuff that's happened to me and I feel like I should be 50 or 60. A whole marriage goes through the entire long length of a long-term relationship and ends. The entire trajectory of my life changes. I changed jobs multiple times. I changed living situations multiple times, live in a bunch of different states. I feel like I've lived 20 years worth of life in the last 10, which I guess is a good thing. Now that you've lived according to your own means for so long and been fine, it proves all those outside expectations are ultimately BS. What matters is what makes you happy. Yeah, that's true. I'm 23 and I feel like retiring and having a yak farm in Iceland. They do yaks in Iceland? You can get a yak in Iceland? Is that real? I didn't know. I was unaware. Yeah, I like a yak. Can you imagine the strength of men 100 to 200 years ago? I mean, I don't think it would really differ all that much. To be honest with you, I don't think men have gotten weaker or stronger. I mean, if you think that the strength of a person is down to the toughness of their life and only the toughness of their life, then I guess you could say that people 100 or 200 years ago were stronger. But like, I don't really think that's the only metric. There are some people that have really hard lives and they're not tempered by it, you know? And I can't imagine that that's some new thing. Better nutrition. Yeah, that's a good point. I honestly can't believe that my disinformation campaign about where I moved to has lasted as long as it has. It has confused people as much as it has. There was I can't remember what it was. I think it was a Reddit thread last night, or maybe it was on Twitter. Somebody was having a back and forth with somebody speculating about where I live. And they were like, yeah, Paul's always saying like he wanted to move to get out of Louisiana, but I think that's a bullshit excuse because the dude moved to Missouri. I was just like, I did. I love the speculative nature of that. Like, it's actually kind of way more fun than I thought it was going to be. And it's going to be easy to keep pulling it off, too, because I plan on moving quite a bit in the next 2 to 3 years of my life. Seems bizarre to me that people put up with their jobs every single day. I had to drive through a mountain of snow just for work. Why do people like this? I don't think they do. I don't think most people like. See, that's the thing. It's like, I think that people have been imbued with this idea that labor for pennies and a life of that is really the only source of nobility. And so they think, well, yeah, it sucks, but the fact that I do it makes me a good person. The fact that I do it makes me a productive member of society. The fact that I'm involved in it makes me good and right. And that's kind of like the blanket that people throw over their head that gets in between them and like, holy fuck, like what I have to do every day sucks. And the system that I help to support in a minor way by doing that fucking sucks because it exploits people like me. You know, realizing that is, I gotta be honest with you, it's not good for fucking morale when you have to work a job like that. I like Utah, but I just don't think that Utah is going to be one of the states that's real quick to legalize, you know, recreational marijuana. I don't like the fact that there's so many Mormons there, but it is a beautiful state. I got to spend almost a month in Utah in like a mountain town called Cedar City for a Shakespeare festival. When was that? Like 2008, something like that, 2007. I really liked it there. Like as far as like the scenic beauty and stuff, but I don't think I could hang with the crazy Mormonism and stuff like that. Mormons are a really, really destructive force when it comes to the idea of social progress. Like Mormons are, like, as a Californian, an ex-Californian, Cali kid, I can tell you that Mormons have an insane amount of sway in the political process, not just in Utah, but in all of the states that surround it. Years and years ago, I want to say, once again, back in 2007 or 8, maybe a little after that, 9, There was a Proposition 8 in the California that, it's like a same-sex marriage thing, and it passed, and everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, how did that happen? Well, it happened because Mormons financed the opposition campaign. Mormons spent more money on the opposition campaign than the pro campaign, and were able to get it fucking squeezed through. So their influence is something that I don't want to be living within. I mean, I don't like the fact that I really have no choice when it comes to living under the dominion, or at least living adjacent to a bunch of religious fanatics. There's really no choice. You can't really go anywhere in the United States, and there are very few places in the world that you can go where you're not adjacent to those people. But here in the United States, they have an inordinate amount of power. And moving away from those bases was just as important to me as just getting out of Louisiana was. Like, I wanted to get out of the South, not just Louisiana. I wanted to get out of the South, where I feel that, I mean, religion has a grip on politics everywhere, but I feel like it has an inordinate amount of influence and sway in the South. And I don't want to be around that. I don't want to live, I want to try and do the best I can and live in a place that reflects my values to the best I can. And the fucking South is about as far from that as you can get. There was no real one single reason I moved out of Louisiana, but I can give you guys a few of them. I was miserable in Louisiana from pretty much the jump. I felt like a fish out of water the entire time I lived in Louisiana. I felt like, just because of the way I look, that I was something of a spectacle in Louisiana when I went out. And that may or may not be true. I felt like I was forced to live in a place where everything that happened around me was some sort of subversion of my own personal values. I hated the weather. I hated the response to COVID, or the lack thereof. The politics, the religiosity, the hypocrisy, the racism, all of that shit. It's just right on the fucking surface in Louisiana, and I don't want to live in a place like that. So I got the fuck out. I don't want to support businesses in a place like that. I don't want to support, with my money or my tax dollars, a state like that ever again. And so I won't. Fat guy with beard is not unusual in Louisiana. I'm talking more about like how I dressed. The long hair and the, Nirvana t-shirts and stuff, which is totally normal for me, is not all that normal down there. So yeah, I wanted to get the fuck out of the South. Now I'm in a state now where, I won't lie to you guys, like, people are still pretty dumb about COVID here. And I don't think I'm going to move to a state where people aren't pretty dumb about COVID. But, at least I'm living in an area now that is closer aligned with my values in terms of, personal freedoms and shit like that. But really, it's a lateral move in a lot of ways. I really don't think that there's an upgrade move for me here in the United States. Looking down the barrel of moving out of the United States is a tough proposition, but it's definitely on the table for me. I'll probably hop around maybe one or two more times here looking for that right spot, that right place. And if I can't find it here, then I'm gone. Ever had a job where you did a lot of pretending to be busy? No, I never had the luxury. I had the jobs that I've held most of my life were jobs where you couldn't pretend to be busy because you were. Worked at packed ass fucking coffee shops for almost a decade, and then I worked for the school district chasing tech support tickets for another fucking almost decade, I guess. And there's no time to kick your feet up at either of those jobs. I will tell you this, sometimes the tech support job, there were times where things would be slow. Like during the summer, if you got out ahead of your projects and just got them knocked out, then you just basically had maintenance and stuff to do, and your time could go by, or you could have, some days in the week, a couple of days in the week every once in a while where you weren't like balls out crazy working, and you could kind of take a slower pace to things. And yeah, it always made the day feel like it was going by so fucking ass-draggingly slow. I think I prefer, if I'm going to have a job like that, for it to be like busy, because I'm telling you, dude, I used to work 8, 10, 12-hour shifts at fucking Starbucks, and I would go in and work a 10 and feel at the time, like by the time I came out the other end of it, that I had worked like 2 or 3 hours. The way that time fucking zips. Zip, zip.
Where are you going with that, Baldy? Why are you sniffing over here?
Where are you going? What are you sniffing? I feel like IT support never ends. I'd always go home at the end of the day anxious for what tomorrow would bring. What I didn't have. Oh yeah, I mean that's common across people that work like help ticket based tech support for different businesses and sites and stuff like I did. There's a sense of constant anxiety because you can never get ahead. You can't even really get caught up. And so basically your entire day is manning a fire extinguisher and putting out forest fires, and then you go home knowing that there are several fires still burning, and you show up at the site the next day and you start putting out those fires, and while you're putting out those fires, more fires start at your other sites. It was just a never-ending cycle of dread and worry. Ever seen bald eagles around you recently? I don't think so, no. I think I'd notice a bald eagle, but maybe.
Minor.
I don't know what he's sniffing over there. He found something. What you got? Other doggies? Feelings on the new Kong versus Godzilla trailer? I've only seen the teaser. I haven't seen the full-length trailer that they just released, but I don't know. It looks like a good brain-off movie. CGI spectacle kind of film that might be kind of fun if they do it right, and might be kind of lame if they don't. I really don't know what to say about it. I actually enjoyed like Kong Skull Island that came out a while back ago. Like, I don't think it's the best movie ever, but I enjoyed it. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll probably rent it when it comes out and kick back here and watch it with Amelia and a bowl of popcorn, kick our feet up. TJ thinks it looks terrible. He may very well be right, I haven't gotten a chance to talk to TJ about his takes on it since the trailer came out. So I didn't know he was pooping on it hard, but yeah, I didn't see anything in the teaser, at least, that made me want to poop on it. But I haven't seen the full trailer yet, so I'll reserve my judgment. Quinn's usage of a literal gorilla to be the voice of nature was a bit on the nose, but I thought it worked. I agree. I think a work like that, which is really based on being an easy, quick read that the author hoped you would spread, so that the ideas contained within it could spread. I think it needs to be a little on the nose. That's one of the reasons I like Ishmael, is because it presents very complex philosophical issues in a way that's at least digestible. You might read the book and not immediately be agreeable to the premises contained therein, but you can understand. It's written in a very simple hand and a very simple prose. I don't get why some people didn't like the 2005 Kong. Is that I don't remember. Oh, is that the Peter Jackson remake? I was not a big fan of that one either. Although it has been a long time since I've seen it, so I'd have to take another look. All I know is this. Whether or not I like this movie, this Godzilla versus Kong, right, is all dependent upon the correct monster winning. And I think you know which monster is the correct monster. If Godzilla beats Kong, I don't even want this movie. So Kong better whoop ass on fucking Godzilla, or by the end of it, shit movie. I don't want to see a movie where Godzilla wins against King Kong. It just shouldn't happen. If that happens, then what that tells me is that the members of, the team of people that made this movie did not research gorilla enough. Because a normal-sized gorilla could beat King Kong. I've already walked you guys through that.
Beat King Kong?
Yeah.
Or you mean beat Godzilla?
Or, sorry, beat Godzilla. Yeah. A normal-sized gorilla could beat Godzilla. That's what I meant. I know there's going to be a bunch of boring human drama speed bumping it. I mean, that's kind of a stupid critique to make of a movie before you've seen it, because there has to be a human being in it. They can't just do a movie of two big monsters fighting for the entire movie. There has to be some kind of touchstone for human beings to watch it. There has to be some kind of human element to it, so we have perspective on it. Otherwise, it's just some kind of weird 2-hour documentary about two monsters fighting in a city or whatever. Godzilla doesn't have an inner life that we can tell. I guess King Kong does, but it doesn't look like that they're going to be exploring that. Godzilla is supposed to represent the consequences of nuclear weapons, Japan's inability to reflect on its imperialist past. If he won, it would just be depressing that the writers forget his purpose. Yeah. And Kong is supposed to signify the power of nature unleashed. It's if you look at the story of King Kong, a group of researchers go to this island that's never been explored, and they find him there, and they manage to capture him and bring him to the city to be a spectacle. But they are unable to contain the fury of nature, and he escapes, and the fury of nature tears down their city. That's the kind of underlying point, I think, of King Kong as a story, is that the hubris of mankind in thinking that it can harness a power like nature. Kong is a stand-in for nature.
There's going to be nukes.
If there's there's a good chance that there's some nuke action because of, especially because of Godzilla. Godzilla and nukes go hand in hand. Basically, Jurassic Park. Yeah, Jurassic Park, based on the same fundamental principle, and I think hammers it home narratively a lot stronger than Kong does. Kong, you got to make some inferences. It's not tough, but in Jurassic Park, it's just dead on, put out there via exposition that, mankind is tampering with nature in a way that's going to bite it in the ass. The entire character of Ian Malcolm exists so that to be that touchstone for the audience. Ian Malcolm and Ellie Sattler, I guess, to a lesser degree, being very, very, skeptical about the idea of wrenching these beasts out of natural extinction and having them coexist with modern animals and modern society. And they turn out to be right. Once again, mankind tries to harness nature, and the hubris of man ends up in the destruction of his plans and in his own destruction. What's a touchstone? I mean, you can look up the actual definition, but as I understand it, a touchstone in a piece of fiction is something relatable. It has to, you have to have something relatable in your fiction so that people can understand your underlying themes and understand your character motivations and such. I'm sorry, honey.
It's okay.
Put this towards the middle. What do you think of the weird object that passed Earth? I remember seeing some satellite pictures of it. It looked really weird. Kind of long. Somebody getting their propane tank filled today.
I guess we should check ours.
I guess we could look and see how much we've gone through. Is it strange that I prefer Return of the Jedi over Empire Strikes Back? No, that's my favorite too. Since I was a little kid. I think I love Return of the Jedi just for its first, 30 or 40 minutes. I love, Jabba's palace. That whole scene. That whole arc. Awesome. I loved that when I was a kid. I loved the little, when they go to knock on the door of Jabba's palace. Ding, 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 ding. And that little... that little robot eyeball comes out, and they're like, oh, my. It's so great. I don't know if I can pick a favorite. All three movies are so good together. I agree. But a lot of people poop on Return of the Jedi because of the kind of Ewok-y thing, I think, that happens. Or the Ewoks in Empire? It's been a while since I watched the original trilogy. Maybe I should do that. Ewoks are annoying. Not for me. I liked the Ewoks as a kid, and I like them now. I defend the Ewoks. Give me an Ewok over one of these other fucking idiots any day. Porgs, get out of here. Gungans, get out of here. Give me Ewoks. Paul, what would you think of the Eric Bana Hulk movie? Underrated movie, in my opinion. I don't like it. I don't think it's underrated. I think it's properly rated. I think it's a piece of shit. Ewoks eat people. Good for them. Fucking A. They should eat anything that comes to that goddamn planet. They got a good little culture going on, the Ewoks. Ewoks are a good and prim example, man. They live in harmony with nature. You go to Endor, you don't see a bunch of fucking industrialized shit. And what you do see of that is what the Empire put there to use it as a forward staging base. Ewoks had it down, man. That long space object looks like a collector ship from Mass Effect 2. Yeah. It's a Reaper, dude. That's what I thought. That thought crossed my mind when I first saw that picture. I was like, "Holy fuck, it's a Reaper." Oh no. What does this mean? I like how Dagobah had normal-sized lizards and snakes everywhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hey, sometimes sometimes species independently develop on two planets. You know what I mean? Exactly the same as they did on Earth. I don't know. It didn't ruin anything for me. You only have to think about things like the difference in speciation that would happen on a completely different planet from Earth if the movie itself invokes that. I don't remember one time during a viewing of Star Wars where I was like, man, that's a boa constrictor. That wouldn't be on Dagobah. It's like, nah. Never went through my mind in that manner. You like the Wookiees? I like the Wookiees too. Dagobah, Dagobah. They picked the worst actor for Anakin. You're talking about in, I'm assuming you're talking about fucking The Phantom Menace. I mean, you gotta give the kid a fucking break here. Number one, that fucking role destroyed that poor kid's life for no reason. He didn't cast himself. He didn't write the goddamn fucking movie. You gotta go easy. All right, I don't know if there was a child actor that could have pulled that off properly. It's just a piece of shit movie. It goes to show you why you shouldn't make a child the central figure of any film unless you've got an extraordinarily talented child actor. To give you an example, what's his fucking name from The Sixth Sense? What is that kid's name? Well, he's not a kid anymore. He's a grown-ass man now. Haley Joel Osment. Haley Joel Osment was an example of a child actor that had real fucking chops. It happens every once in a while. And if you want to write a movie with a child at the center of it, getting an actor like Haley Joel Osment is pretty much fucking essential. I don't know about Will Wheaton. The other child actor that comes to mind when I'm thinking of really like amazing child actors is, I can't remember his real name, but he played Elliot in E.T. Kid had chops. Kid was an actual legit actor and was able to carry that film as its central human character focus. The Coreys back in the 80s, Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, another couple of good examples of like child actors that were decent. Sean Astin, another good child actor in Goonies as well. The little girl from Logan was great. You're absolutely right about that. That's another fantastic example of them casting a really talented child actor, but it's hard. You have to understand, like, acting.
Just my horrible eyebrow job on that north.
Let me see. You can see. It looks good. What do you mean horrible eyebrow job? He looks good.
It ain't even, but
It don't matter. He can see. Look at you. I can see your eyeballs. I love throwing it that way because he hits that dry stretch and it sounds like a galloping horse.
yeah.
You can hear him gallop.
Yeah.
Molly Ringwald could get it. Molly Ringwald was underage in a lot of the movies that you probably remember her from, so you might want to not go down that road. Linda Blair. Yeah, oh yeah. Another great example of a child actor that really stepped up to a fucking immensely challenging role. What I was saying earlier is like acting requires you to be in touch with tragedy. And being in touch with tragedy for a lot of people, I think, requires time. Like you have to grow up to really truly experience and contextualize tragedy. Do that. And those are the kids that Hollywood has to find if they want to make a child a central character in a film. You have to find a child that either through just a natural kind of jolt of talent or through their upbringing has experienced loss and tragedy in a very adult way. They have to be able to touch that in order to make a good performance happen. And it seems to be something that's really hard to find in child actors, and it's not against the kids. They have nothing to do with it, really. Some people are born with that ability to make that empathetic connection, and some people have to learn it. And those that are born with it make good child actors. And those that have to learn it don't. Ron Howard is a good example of a child actor as well. Yeah. In case I slept all the way in today. Let's. Yeah, but I took that weird fucking nap in the middle of the day yesterday too.
Yeah.
My sleep schedule is trying to fucking morph into my old sleep schedule again. My body's like, stay up till 4 a.m., Paul's ego. Watch the sunrise and then go to bed, Paul's ego. Would you recommend trying to get into theater acting for plays if you never did it when you were younger? Why not, man? Like what's the worst thing that could happen? You get rejected, you don't get a part, you don't like it. I mean, like, why not? If you have an interest in it, you don't have to have like a lot of formal training and shit to be in a play. You just have to have the desire to learn and the desire to be open-minded about things that might make you uncomfortable and shit. But if you want to learn the craft, there's no better way to learn it than by doing it. I did a lot of shows, and I did a lot of studying and a lot of reading and a lot of exercises and a lot of practice. But really, what taught me the most about being in shows was being in shows. So you just got to go do it. Yeah, you guys quit whinging at each other about the fucking prequels, please. Don't have a whole ass paragraphs long conversation about the prequels. Just be cool. I just recently did a mass unban, and we're turning over a new leaf, okay? We're turning over a new leaf here on Highdeology. Mass unban. I don't usually tell you guys when those go down because it just lets the trolls know they can come back. But I'm throwing it out there as an olive branch. It's a new dawn, and it's a new day, and it's a new Highdeology for me. Even the guy that banned a lot of people, yes. Even him, he can do us no harm now. I actually kind of want Alamau to come back someday, but I don't think he will. I don't think he thinks he's welcome, but he's not banned. He can come back in. Dude, I do have a booger going on. I just saw it. I just seen it.
There's that paper towel down there.
Oh yeah, that's the one. That's what I need. You want to go in? You cold? Go. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Da-da. 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 Bird in the sky, you know how I feel. Something that rhymes with bird in the sky, you know how I feel. Something that rhymes with those previous two lines. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Hear about the new Addams Family movie with Johnny Depp yet? No, I have not. That sounds like it's going to be a nightmare.
Is it Tim Burton?
Yeah, I assume it's a Tim Burton movie, and I assume that Johnny Depp will be playing Gomez Addams. That's the assume that those are my assumptions. I don't think Johnny Depp is necessarily a bad choice for Gomez Addams. He's got the look. But it just depends.
Oh, it's not.
It's not a Tim Burton movie?
Nope.
Oh, well, then there's hope.
Conrad Vernon, Greg Tiernan, Kevin Pavlovic, Laura Purcell.
Maybe it'll be good. That Addams Family movie. Oh, it's animated?
Yeah.
Oh, well, fuck that. I don't give a shit.
So this one doesn't have Johnny Depp in it. So I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh. Somebody in the chat just said it's not happening, so maybe it was just a movie that was rumored or something.
Snoop Dogg is in it, though.
Snoop is in the Addams Family? Damn.
It.
Oh, he's Cousin It? Okay. Cousin It doesn't talk. So how is Snoop Dogg going to do that? Well, Cousin It does talk, but he has like this type of voice that you're not supposed to be able to understand. Cousin Lit, yeah. Are they gonna put a big blunt coming out? Because like Cousin It is just like he's like a little person that has hair that covers his whole body, so you can't see anything. Like his long hair on the top of his head that's so long and thick that he's just like a walking head of hair.
Little sunglasses.
Yeah. And he talks like. Yeah, Cousin Big Hit. They better have Cousin It hit a bong in the movie if they've got Snoop Dogg playing him, or missed opportunity, man. Yeah, dude, a Snoop Dogg one-man Addams Family show? That'd be pretty dope. He plays everybody.
You think he would have done a better Twilight Zone host than the last one?
Yes. I think that pretty much anybody would have been a better Twilight Zone host than Jordan Peele. But yeah, I think a Snoop Dogg Twilight Zone would have been fun. What's up? You know how it goes down in the LBC. Sometimes you think you on top, but then you find out you on the bizottom. Tonight, we gonna follow this unlucky motherfucker right here. Thinks he's got everything lined out. But it turns out, that motherfucker don't know shit. He in the Twilight Zone. I'd be like, fuck yes. They really want Peele to happen. Jordan Peele has revealed one thing to me. He made that fucking movie Get Out. Well, number one, he's revealed a couple of things. He's a talented comedian and comedic performer. I think Key and Peele have some really, really funny sketches and shit. He is capable of writing and directing a really amazing film. I think Get Out is a really, really great, challenging horror film, quite unlike any horror film that I've seen in a very long time, and maybe with nothing to compare it to almost. So I know he's capable. Like, I'm a believer in Jordan Peele, but I just don't think that he's chosen the right kind of projects and shit. Like, I really think that he had to know that he wasn't selling the Rod Serling character. Like, there's nothing wrong with him producing the fucking Twilight Zone stuff, but he had to know he wasn't selling the Rod Serling shit. Had to turn off my alarm. But yeah, Us was a disappointing foray for me. I didn't really like the movie all that much. Tales from the Hood is a show with Snoop Dogg as the Satan storyteller character. Yeah. That would be dope. An episodic Tales from the Crypt style horror show, but based on Tales from the Hood, with Snoop Dogg as the creepy mortician that welcomes you in every day. And he's got a new corpse. He's got a new corpse in the, in the coffin every day. Smoking a big blunt. This motherfucker right here. Man. Talk about a motherfucker that had everything. And now this motherfucker got nothing. You know what I mean? Hell yeah, dude. Hell yes. Call Snoop. You done messed up, AA Ron. Yeah. I'm really hungry for that kind of a show and to have it really be good. Because when I was a kid, man, there was nothing like Tales from the Crypt. Like, I love that format for horror so goddamn much. I love the short form format. It forces such great economy in writing and conception that it makes, like, I don't know. It just makes great little moments and great little pockets of horror and great little excuses to try crazy things. And, they've tried to kind of revive the art form, but nothing's really caught on. I tried watching the kind of reboot of, God, what was that? The Outer Limits or some shit? It wasn't The Outer Limits. It was something. Shudder did a reboot of one of these. Yes. Yeah, like Black Mirror, for sure. That's my shit. I enjoy that shit. I like that shit, Holmes. I like that. Have you ever seen Black Sabbath by Mario Bava? Probably the best horror anthology film. I have not, but I'll check it out. If it comes recommended as an anthology film, I'll check it out. Because usually I'm very disappointed by horror anthology films. For me, the gold standard horror anthology films are the Two Creep shows sitting at the very fucking top. And then the late 80s Tales from the Dark Side. And to a lesser extent, the Twilight Zone movie. Those are the movies that I feel like have done the horror anthology. Well, I guess Tales from the Hood as well. Can't leave that out. Those are my gold standard horror anthology films. And nothing's really even tried to come close. check out Trick or Treat. I have seen Trick or Treat. I don't put it on my list. Let's put it that way. It's not horrible, but it's not. I don't know. It's just a little. It falls a little short. First 3 seasons of Black Mirror had some interesting concepts. Kind of fell off after that, though. Yeah, I liked the first 2 seasons of Black Mirror. I don't think I ever watched season 3, but I was enjoying the show. And then, yeah, I kind of feel like at some point I watched a couple of episodes in a row that I felt were kind of like, so I stopped watching. Heard about the insane helicopter crash on the set of the Twilight Zone movie? Yeah, we covered it, I think, in our Cursed Movies show that we did. I think that might have been a patron show. I did a couple of cursed movie shows where we talked about these movies that have this mythology about being cursed because they had deaths on the set, or people that were worked on the movie died soon after, or blah, blah, blah. And we covered it in that. We covered the Twilight Zone movie and the crazy fucking helicopter crash that happened that killed a bunch of people. It's like a stunt shot gone wrong. Born to watch, forced to be a patron. Hey, we gotta make money somehow. You can think of some other way we could subsidize ourselves and keep you fucking swimming in content every week. I'm open to it, but right now we got to put our hat on the sidewalk and ask people if they want to throw $5 in, you know. What do you think really happened when Moses came down from the mountain with the 10 Commandments? I don't even know if that shit even happened. I don't even know if Moses existed as like a historical figure. Like, there's a good chance that Moses never really existed. There's a good chance that nothing like is described in the Bible when it comes to him walking up Mount Sinai and the burning bush and all that. Like, dude, like, if you read that story, dude was up there long enough for everybody that followed him to forget his teachings and start worshiping a fucking golden calf. Story don't make no sense. There's like no evidence of mass Jewish or Hebrew enslavement by the fucking ancient Egyptians. So it's likely the whole Moses story is just a bunch of fucking horsepucky. I think Hitchens says in God is Not Great that Israeli theologians scoured the desert and found nothing corroborating many of the stories, right? I mean, it's almost like when you talk about proof of Exodus, which is the big book that we're talking about in the Bible. And in that book, to paraphrase it if you've never read the Bible, what happens is that an Egyptian pharaoh has enslaved much of the tribe of Judah and forced them to build his empire. And Moses comes to the Pharaoh simply demanding that he let the Israelites go. And the Pharaoh says, why should I do that? You know, what proof do you have of your God, etc.? And Moses performs a number of tricks that are designed to, miracles, I suppose, that are designed to prove to Pharaoh that, you know, God is real. And then Pharaoh just won't believe. And so God tells Moses, like, have every Israelite paint the top of their doorway with lamb's blood, and that will let the angel of death know that, you know, they're part of the tribe and that they don't deserve to have their firstborn killed. And so that's what they do. Like, the tribe all takes some lamb's blood and paints it over their doorway. And then all of the Egyptians lose their firstborn sons that night because they don't have lamb's blood over their doorway. And the angel of death visits them. And that's finally the plague that convinces Pharaoh to, quote unquote, let Moses's people go. And so Moses leads the tribe of Judah out of Egypt But Pharaoh changes his mind and goes back on his word and decides after the fact that he wants to pursue and chase down and kill all of the Jews. And that's when Moses parts the Red Sea and the Jews walk across it. And then Pharaoh orders his troops to pursue them across the gap. And once the Jews are across, the Red Sea crashes back together, killing Pharaoh and his entire army. And the Jews go to wander the desert for 40 years or whatever the fuck. The problem with it is that even when it comes to the believable aspects of the story, like, for example, a pharaoh enslaving another nation of people to build his, like, let's say that, like, it's believable that that happened. There's no fucking evidence of it whatsoever. There's no evidence that there was a concentration of Jews used as slave labor exclusively. There's no evidence that the said Jews ever walked out of Egypt or were liberated by any pharaoh. There's no evidence that any said tribe wandered the desert for 40 years. It's just a story. Which means that Moses, as an actual historical figure, if he did exist, was probably nothing like he's portrayed in the Bible. Maybe he was an early religious leader. Maybe he was somebody that led a battle or something somewhere and his name was lionized in the Bible as some kind of saint. But when you talk about something as massive as a pharaoh losing his entire army and letting his entire slave labor force go at the demands of one of the members of that tribe or whatever the fuck, it just has no historicity to it as far as we've been able to find at all. And so if that's the case, then it's just another allegorical story in the Bible. What really starts baking a Christian's noodle is when you tell them that Jesus himself was likely an allegory. He may have existed as a human being, but the idea that he did anything that's in the Bible or was anything like he was portrayed in the Bible is almost laughably stupid. There are certain aspects of the Bible that are completely and utterly ridiculous. One of them is the High Jewish Council convening on Passover in order to deal with a beneath notice rabble-rouser, insurrectionist, blasphemer, or whatever the fuck you wanted to call Jesus. The absurdity of that. The absurdity of... By the way, Passover is the holiday that Jews celebrate to mark the day that we just talked about, where they painted the lamb's blood over their door and the angel of death passed over the tribe of Judah and killed all the firstborn sons of Egypt. So it's one of the most holy days in Judaism, and according to the story of Jesus, the Jewish High Council convened on Passover to deal with what was ostensibly to them just a rabble-rousing insurrectionist, somebody preaching blasphemy. Certainly a guy like Jesus would have been dealt with eventually, but the idea that the Jewish High Council came together to crucify this person on Passover makes absolutely no fucking sense. Or Passover Eve, sorry. Didn't happen on Passover. It was Passover Eve. Makes no sense. The Romans crucified him, yes, but it was the Jewish High Council that sentenced him to that crucifixion, along with, what was it, the name of the fucking Roman governor or whatever. It was them that convinced the Roman governor to carry out the sentence, et cetera, et cetera. I can't remember what the name of that governor was in the story. I know it's not Pontius Pilate, because Pontius Pilate is the Roman soldier that pierced... Was it Pontius Pilate? Then who's... Oh, Longinus. Right, so it was Pilate. You're right. So Pontius Pilate was the Roman governor at that time, and he was the one that under the advice of the Jewish High Council. And then it was Longinus that did the spear. Longinus was the Roman soldier that pierced the side of Jesus Christ, and then the water came busting out and sprayed all over everybody. And that's when Jesus said, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit, and died. For the first time. Very common debate tactic with Christian apologetics, apologetists, is that they try and get you to agree that Jesus existed on some level. They're always bewildered when you say no. I mean, yeah, like, I'll even give them that, though. I'll even say, like, I'm willing to admit that there might have been some historical religious cultist by the name of Jesus Christ or Jesus of Nazareth or something that existed at some point in history. I don't think that backs up the historical count of Jesus in any way. It's very easy for me, and Occam's razor tells me that if Jesus existed at all, he was likely just a minor cult leader amongst a certain sect of Jews and Hebrews and Israelites who, fucking had a little cult and had a bunch of people, maybe, or not a bunch, but a group of Jews that believed that he was the Messiah. And the cult of personality that sprung up around him became Christianity. It just took root. This idea that he was dealt with by, Roman nobles and shit makes no fucking sense. But whatever. Yeah, it would be cool to see like a Jesus as a cult leader kind of film that maybe makes inferences to some of the story beats. Like maybe he is crucified, but not in the way that it says in the Bible. He's just crucified for being a vagrant and a pickpocket or some shit. And maybe he does have some kind of a Last Supper with his group of people. You know what I mean? It'd be interesting. Well, if Jesus was born where they say he was born in the Bible, there's absolutely no way that he was a fair-haired, blue-eyed white guy like he's depicted in 99% of Jesus art. He more than likely looked more like an ethnic Jew or a Middle Eastern person, if he did exist at all. Learned on your show that Jesus we see is some pope's nephew. Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, it's based on it. There's been a lot of like reinterpretation of the face and countenance of Jesus, but yes, the common depiction of Jesus is based on some old ancient pope's nephew. Jesus was a Cambodian. Yeah. I grew up Catholic before my awakening, and we basically taught that Jesus was a long-haired Italian guy. Yeah, pretty much. All right, well, I think I have to end this now because I've got work to do today. I'm going to go meet with the guys, film some content, do a little meeting. I enjoyed today, though. It was good. It was good. Mark this one as a win. Have a good one.